All right, and talking about SACCOs, we understand that one of the biggest SACCOs, when we talk about in this country, when you talk about a conversation around SACCOs, it touches on teachers. Teachers have a wonderful movement when it comes to the cooperative world. And actually, Mwalimu SACCO grew and acquired Spire Bank. But this was years ago. And this particular issue of Spire Bank has become quite a challenge that now Parliament has been investigating this particular issue. And joining me is Jimmy Mbogo to elaborate what exactly is going on in this inquiry by Parliament on matters Spire Bank and Mwalimu SACCO. Let's listen in.
Well, indeed, a very good afternoon to you two. Noah. One of the things that we were following up is the conversation about the acquisition, or the proposed acquisition of Spire Bank by Equity Bank. And so that we save on this time, I will be engaging the chairman of the committee to be able to give us more details in terms of what has transpired and what led them to follow up on this issue. Chairman, karibu sana, and thank you for speaking to KTN. One of the things that we really want to understand is this has actually been an issue of concern to so many teachers and members of these unions. From where you sit, are you satisfied by the answers that you've been getting?
Thank you very much. First of all, the Committee of Finance and National Planning today was sitting after a statement was sought by the Honorable Kagushia, MP for Mukurweini, asking about the fate of the planned ongoing acquisition of Spire Bank by Equity Bank. And the reason why this became an issue of interest to this committee. One is that we've been able to establish that the fate of the over 200 employees of Spire Bank has not been considered in the acquisition. And we've seen this a big departure from what has happened in the past, because previously we had the acquisitions of, I think it was KCB and I think National Bank. We've also had NCBA and I think that
was CBA and NIC Bank.
Yes, CBA and NIC Bank, and there was a clause in the acquisitions about the fate of those employees, and those employees were absorbed into the merger. And so this we're seeing peculiar, because a big departure from the tradition, and honestly it's also not really fair. And number two, we are also concerned because Spire Bank is owned by Mwalimu SACCO. And Mwalimu SACCO is owned by ordinary teachers of this country. You know, both teachers still in the profession and retired teachers. And producing through some of the conditions of the acquisition is that actually it's going to be Spire Bank that will pay Equity Bank 422 million, almost $500 million shillings, despite they being acquired. We are looking at the loan book. That is the asset. The most strategic asset of any bank is a loan book. And when we have been able to establish that the loan book has been acquired at only 13%. And considering that the loans are secured, then really we are seeking more answers to find out how do you acquire a loan book at 13%, and that loan book actually has securities. And this money that's going to be paid to Equity Bank, around $500 million shillings, is going to be paid by the SACCO. So then what is now the fate of these teachers that have been saving all their lives in this SACCO? What's the fate of even those that are retired? How does that affect the liquidity of the SACCO in terms of its ability to advance, credit, to continue to advance credit to its members? So these are the issues that I've been looking at. We listened to several stakeholders today. We listened to Mwalimu SACCO, we listened to Spire Bank, and also good to appreciate that we need to find a solution to Spire Bank, because the bank cannot keep making losses, every year, and then the the SACCO now has to continuously advance money to run Spire Bank. So we listened to several of those stakeholders. On Thursday, we will continue with the stakeholders engagement. We expect to speak with the regulatory authority of SACCOs, that is SASRA, and Central Bank.
All right, Mheshimiwa, from the deliberations that have been going on, we understand that for the last 6 or so years that Spire Bank was, after it was acquired, they've made a loss of about 13 billion shillings. Is this an issue of concern for you?
Yes, because again, it's at a time when nearly all banks have been reporting profits. It's quite peculiar that this one has made accumulative losses of 12 billion shillings. And almost every bank has been making profits. And again, also we are also now looking into even how was this even bank acquired by this. And our biggest concern is this is money of teachers. This is teachers' money.
Yeah.
It would bother us, but not as much if it was business people, who are not able to do prudent business and making losses. But when you play with the deposits of hardworking teachers of this country, who have been saving for years, some of them are now retired, then that certainly becomes an interest of the Finance National Planning Committee.
All right, now, Mheshimiwa, before I let you go, there was also the session that you had in camera with Spire Bank and some of their officials. From the answer that they were able to present to you, did they explain what was happening behind the scenes that led to these losses?
Yes, we had a camera session early in the morning because Spire Bank requested that we do that, and according to our standing orders 178, it is within their right to ask that the deliberations we have been camera based on the sensitivity of the matter. So we listened to them, we asked for additional information, and we'll be making a decision because they're out of gaps. To be honest, they're out of gaps that members felt that there were not, the answers, some of them were not satisfactory. And we will also be seeking, even better answers with Central Bank and SASRA, who are the direct government regulating agencies to the bank and the SACCO.
All right, thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for taking the time to speak to us. And Noah, there you have it. Of course, we were expecting to be joined by SASRA and the Central Bank, who are the regulators for banks. But however, we understand from the communication from the chair is that they have requested to have the session on Thursday. So I will be giving you more details in our subsequent bulletins. But for now, back to you, Noah.
Thank you very much, Jimmy Mbogo. And actually, savings and credit societies, commonly referred to as SACCOs, societies